former world champion. He's now being talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Can that fight happen?
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I'm looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many ways.
You said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person.
Reports say the fight between JakePaul and Anthony Joshua is planned for January 2026. JakePaul's manager, Nakisa Bidarian, confirmed that talks have started with Joshua's team and promoter Eddie Hearn. Saudi boxing boss Turki Alajic supporting the event. Possible venues include Wembley and places in the US and Middle East.
In terms of those active discussions, how far have things progressed? Is it something that you can see happening next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away. I think he had a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
There are some concerns, aren't there, within the boxing world about Jake fighting someone as powerful as AJ. How much of a worry is that? We saw what he did to Ngannou.
So power is obviously the last thing to go. So obviously AJ has a ton of power and he's still fairly young.
JakePaul, after beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., hinted that the fight with Anthony Joshua could happen next year. He said Joshua talked about having the fight at the end of 2025. With a full match in early 2026, Paul's manager also said talks are going on for this big event.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything is possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Paul followed up his challenge by calling out Joshua again. After beating Chavez Jr., Paul said his next goal is a huge fight against Joshua. He made it clear on his podcast and after the fight that he really wants to face Joshua and shock the boxing world.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
JakePaul believes fighting Anthony Joshua will help boxing. He says it will bring in new fans, energy, and global attention. Paul calls himself a fresh breath for the sport and says even legends like Joshua, Tyson, Fury, and Pacquiao, no, he brings hype. He says boxing needs new life, and he can attract young fans who don't watch traditional boxing.
But you said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person, which are always fun. But it's going to happen. And it's just such an exciting fight that crosses the whole globe. When you ask a lot of people about certain boxers, they don't know their names. And everywhere I've been going, I just talk about Anthony and I don't have, I'm global. So it's just such a good fight for the sport of boxing. And people will think I will die, but I will show them why I can rise against all odds and beat him.
Everyone's been wanting to see it happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United? Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight. And what I mean by that is politics, people trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Eddie Hearn also confirmed that serious talks are happening about a JakePaul versus Anthony Joshua fight in early 2026. Joshua is expected to return late 2025 after his elbow surgery. Turki Alajic from Saudi Arabia is said to be supporting the match.
The discussions with AJ are as follows. We will be ready to fight November, December. We are planning life without Jake Paul. But if that is for real, of course, we take that fight in a heartbeat. We don't think that, I don't just think Jake's doing it just purely for publicity, but at the same time, will he actually do it? We'll find out soon, but we're up for it. But we can't just live in the world of waiting for Jake Paul. So we're going to fight December, maybe early January.
Eddie Hearn warns Jake Paul about the danger of facing a top heavyweight like Anthony Joshua. While he admits it could make a lot of money, he says it's a very risky fight and shouldn't be taken lightly.
Jake Paul could last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait, but he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary for a while. So, yeah, we can joke about it, but I don't recommend it for Mr. Paul.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter. And he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy. AJ, he's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport. But I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it doesn't sit right. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it. Personally, but it's good talking point, I guess.
Hearn also responded to claims that the fight is fair. He said there's nothing even about Paul versus Joshua. In a recent interview, he joked that only from a promotional view could someone call it a 50-50th fight.
He's been with AJ and Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end. And he's a good kid and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush here, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. I'm sure. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury announced he's going to come back to ring? And did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. You know, I thought they were very close. Don't think he won them, but you know, maybe he does fight Usyk again. We can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is, good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully, it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh, well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Last one, what next for Dave Allen?
Well, Dave Allen's been an incredible project the last couple of months. I mean, look, we've been talking to Deontay Wilder, we've been talking to Joseph Parker.
Tony Bellew, a former WBC cruiserweight champion, said the fight idea is crazy and dangerous. He's worried because Jake Paul is much smaller than Joshua and it could be unsafe.
It's a possibility to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's a possibility that... it's a possibility an alien might just land on this fucking grass now. It's a possibility.
Listen, I'm not saying the outcome of the fight, but there's a possibility that this fight could happen, isn't it?
You just said the word fight. In the same sentence said Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. This is a guy who was on the Disney Channel, made his name big from the Disney Channel. And I haven't really slated this guy because I think he's doing, some of the things he's doing for boxing is brilliant. This job he's doing with the women is fantastic. I went into a gym the week before he fights Tommy Fury and there was 200 kids in the gym on a Tuesday night. Kids. He's a big part of that. Give him all the credit in the world. But in the same sentence, he's fought one live boxer in his career and he lost. What would you say if I put Tommy Fury in with Anthony Joshua?
Paul's promoter, Nikisa Bidarian, answered size concerns by saying they're okay with the difference. Paul weighs about 210 to 215 pounds, while Joshua is around 252 pounds. Bidarian said Paul's strength, progress, and past heavyweight experience, like training for Mike Tyson, makes this fight possible. But many boxing experts, fighters, coaches, and promoters are still worried. They don't think it's a serious or safe fight, even if it might make money.
Don't put it past Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
you really think he's got a chance?
Why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. Mate, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head, because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he? But
what do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I'd love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point, you were good friends.
I'm still good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking to him. Is this not what we're on? Is everyone not fake, or no? We all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Shut your mouth, Tyson. Shut your trap.
John Fury, Tyson Fury's outspoken father, said in an interview that Anthony Joshua would easily knock Jake Paul out. He even claimed that if Joshua didn't win, the fight must be fixed. Meanwhile, Tyson Fury had a totally different view. He said he would bet £1 million that Jake Paul knocks out Joshua and called it a 50-50th fight. Jake Paul accepted the challenge and even said he would bet £10 million on himself to win. These comments have caused a big stir in the boxing world.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's the spent force. And I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. Protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still. Sure. Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That is crazy. That's what he called Richter scale call-outs.
Richter scale, I like that.
Simon Jordan disagrees with the idea that Joshua should fight Jake Paul. He said Joshua is still a serious world champion, even after some recent losses, and fighting Paul would damage his legacy. Jordan doesn't think fans or networks would take such a fight seriously.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years. I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not. Yeah. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work. But you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul. Forget Jake Paul.
A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does. But Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddled with this, does he?
Yeah. No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last now, you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money he'll probably ever make.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan also talked about the fight. He questioned why Jake Paul is waiting until 2026 instead of fighting sooner. Rogan joked that maybe Jake wants to get bigger and stronger. First, maybe even using steroids. And
they're talking right now about doing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul.
I know, I saw that.
Jake Paul apparently wants that fight.
Yeah, that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch, night-night guy.
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora strongly rejected the idea of giving Jake Paul a WBC ranking. He said it's disrespectful to real fighters who work hard for years. Chisora blamed WBC president Mauricio Suleiman for trading respect for money. He called the ranking talk a disgrace to boxing.
The WBC have said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers to get those rankings. And then suddenly this Solomon Sousa decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No, that is disgrace to boxing.
Former world champ George Groves said a fight between Joshua and Paul has no real meaning. He thinks Joshua should only fight serious opponents and that fighting Paul is bad for his career. Groves says Joshua should either retire or wait to fight Tyson Fury, which would truly matter. Many fans agree and have mocked the idea of the fight, calling it a joke. Some even said Jake Paul is cancer to boxing. Others believe it would hurt Joshua's legacy and say he should only have big, real fights, not circus-style events.
This is probably the state of heavyweight boxing. They have to bring Jake Paul into the ring to face off one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He's already scheduled to face Anthony Joshua, which would be a major step up. Tyson Fury said, I genuinely think Jake Paul knocks out Anthony Joshua, which is actually crazy. But what did John Fury say?
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick.
If you saw what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou, who's not a boxer, absolutely flatlined him, right? You think a Canelo versus Crawford will do numbers? Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua would break numbers. It'll probably be on Netflix. You'll see. Is Jake Paul a real boxer? Can he compete in heavyweight against Anthony Joshua? The world of boxing is crazy right now.
To go from Nate Robinson, 5'7" guard that played in the NBA, to Anthony Joshua, you would never have picked it ever.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. He's not a joke. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He took an L there, but Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening, it's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face-to-face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's going to fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly going to be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3 because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. You know what I mean? You never know.